There we go.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Facilities Maintenance and Operations Committee meeting for Tuesday, November the 14th at 2 p.m. I'll start out with the land acknowledgement. As we gather, we'd like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We'd like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Can I have roll call, please, Deputy or Clerk Harris?
Chair, Councilor Degree.
Present.
Councilor Cebulski.
Present.
Councilor Andrew Dick.
Present.
And we also have Councilor McDonald joining us.
Present.
Chair Degree, we have quorum.
Thank you very much. Is there any declarations of interest? No, seeing none. We'll move on to presentations. So C.1, the Mattaway Expansion Project monthly update, and I'll hand it over to Director Aslan.
Okay, thanks. Through the chair, I'll ask Carolyn to put up the presentation, which should appear on our screen momentarily. So this is the November update. And as usual, we will talk about the progress, the schedule, and I'll pass it over to the treasurer for budget. And then we have a few photos there from the site. So we'll go to the next slide, Carolyn, and the next slide again. As far as progress, there is progress being made on the site. There's 99% of the masonry on the ground floor and second floor done. The 100% on the steel studs and ground floor and the second floor. So mainly the medicine wheel is now, all the metal studs and drywall are complete there. So 100% of the drywall on the ground and second floor is complete now. The fire suppression system is 100% installed, and they're working through the commissioning aspects of the fire suppression system. 95% of the ductwork has been installed, and it's mainly just the balancing that's remaining, and the odd actuator is missing. So they're going through the system, just basically correcting any deficiencies or any missing components there. But the majority of it's up. The scuppers, 98% complete, and there's only a piece of flashing missing on one of the scuppers, so it's essentially 100% complete, but not quite. So there's just a little bit of flashing to do. The Electrical Safety Authority has done the majority of the inspections. 90% of the millwork is complete. That's the work done by Delory kitchen cabinets. There's still some cabinets to install in Ultimate Fitness, which is scheduled for December coming up. So 98% of the parapet flashing is complete. The 85% of the first and second coats of paint have been applied. And if there's one area that needs additional resources, it is the painters and the painting at the site. So the general contractor is working, trying to secure additional resources to get more of the painting advanced at a more rapid pace at this point. 95% of the bathrooms have received tile, so there's really only one area that is left to be tiled, in a shower and in a change room. And the LVT flooring is going well, and the cultural center is 95% complete. Medicine wheel and corridors are remaining. So the Lindsay Field water main has been installed. This will be the last item the last report we see that report, and we'll just take that one off. The exterior curb fencing and parking lot, the curbs are about 70% complete. Fencing is about 60% complete, and the parking lot is 25%. So they have the granular surface kind of prepared for part of the parking lot, and they're going to be paving. They had about 15 people at the site the last time I was there this week. So it seems like they're really ramping up on the exterior work to finish that off. Okay, the next slide. 98% of the interior glass, 100% of the metal doors are installed now. The rink surface has been completed as far as the concrete repairs. 95% of the dasher boards. Exterior foundation cement board is at 100% now, so that work has been completed. So which allows us to finish off the landscaping around the backside of the building. There was one section of exterior cement board missing at the back section there in the last couple weeks, so they've tidied that up. The gym floor is all the flooring has been installed and it remains to be sanded, the lines painted, and the finish put on. So they're just waiting to do some corrections to a rooftop unit structural prior to starting that finishing work on the floor. So they want to get the rooftop units all finished up prior to moving into the final finishing operations on the gymnasium floor. And the acoustic panels are all installed. So the upcoming work planned is complete the tiles in the last change room and shower, to install the door hardware, and install the remaining plumbing fixtures, which are currently at about 65%. So the plumbers have been working in the last week or so to really advance the plumbing work and install the fixtures. Okay, the next slide here. The largest issue we're facing at this time is to resolve some structural deficiencies, including the supports of the rooftop units. So there are structural engineers working with the project structural engineers to basically assess each of the rooftop units. There's about 24 rooftop units, and some of them have been cleared as being okay. Some of them do require work. The one in the gymnasium does require some additional work, so they're moving on with the final design and correction of that deficiency. And the structural engineers working on behalf of the contractors continue to assess the remaining rooftop units. Okay, the interior and exterior caulking and expansion joints are currently in progress. Door hardware installation, as we indicated. The intumescent paint, which is the fireproofing paint under the walking track, has been sort of point of discussion. The work has taken place. It's about at 80%, but the thickness is not quite built up to the sufficient thickness, so they continue to work on the intumescent paint. And that's anticipated to be completed in the next week and a half. They did have trouble getting the intumescent paint materials to the site, and that's delayed work into this week and next week. So the ring glass will be finished after the intumescent painting is done, and all the materials are on site for that. And as well, the gymnasium floor will be completed after the structural repairs on rooftop unit number 1. The gas inspections have been done, and the only remaining unit to be commissioned was the hot water tank. So there was a little bit of work identified by the approval agencies up on the roof of the exhaust for the rooftop units. So they're just correcting that deficiency, and then that will be commissioned. So the right now the plumbing has been charged, like the water supply is turned on. There's water supply to all the fixtures, so at least we've got that behind us. The roof on the medicine wheel is being completed, so it had been started, and some inspections identified that there was some deficient work. So we've gone back to the contractor to get corrections planned, and I think that work is going to be restarting here in the next day or two. The landscaping, the retaining wall, and unit pavers and steps are ongoing, and they've made a lot of progress. All the retaining walls have been constructed around the medicine wheel and around the daycare play areas. The curbs and asphalt are continuing, and Greenwood, again, as reported, are there in full force working away. So the next slide, that comes to schedule and upcoming milestones, major deliverables. So final resolution of structural deficiencies are November, December. That's sort of the one that's presenting us with the most concerns as far as schedule, and And if major structural work is required, then we may have to go backwards on a couple of these areas. But the team members, the structural engineers and architects, and the contractor structural engineers are working every day on this. We have several communications that are happening each day to advance this work. Okay, the installation of the maple benches is approximately 60% and probably even further than that now in the locker rooms. The refrigeration system will start up after the intumescent paint is complete. So Simcoe has been to the site and they've gone through the verification of their equipment, and everything is ready to go to do the drawdown test. There was some communication that the existing rink surface will be affected by the startup when they start reducing the temperature on the slab, because the two systems are tied together, which is normal in a two rink situation. So I think the existing arena or the existing ice surface will be affected for about half a day. And I think coordination has taken place between Simcoe and Randy Smith as far as the operations of the rink, and I think they found a time slot that will work without affecting the programming. So that will take place at the end of November, early December. The tenant and base millwork are essentially right at this point. They're finishing countertops and installing the plumbing. The gymnasium floor, I think we noted that that's going to happen, and it's been delayed slightly by the rooftop unit work. And the arena glass will be finished. Parking lots and parking lot lighting, all the bases for the lights are currently in, the conduits are in, and so the parking lot paving work will take place, and then the poles will go up after that. So Novopol are manufacturing the poles as we speak, and that's in progress. Okay, the facility is, I guess the connections into the existing facility have begun. So they've broke the masonry between the two, the existing rink and the new rink, and starting to finish off those access points. And that's important to have that work started and make those connections. So the facility has begun to be cleaned, and by the contracted cleaner hired by Butcon. Topsoil and sod here, we did get it priced out, and due to the timing and winter sort of setting in, we've made a decision to defer the topsoil and the sod until springtime. There was questions of whether or not the sod would survive, and I guess the winter operations on the sidewalks would be hard on the new sod. So I think we've made a decision at this point to defer the sod and the topsoil into next spring, and we'll look at options because the pricing came in quite high on that. So we may look at our own forces to do that landscaping, but we'll consider those options in the spring. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, we still are looking at occupancy in two stages, the main building area being stage 1, and the medicine wheel being stage 2. I say the team remains concerned with meeting the stage 1 substantial completion date by the end of 2023 because of the structural deficiency repairs, but the contractor still is working towards that December completion, and they haven't advised that they're on any different schedule. But we do have some concerns. I think there is a bit of slack created in the mobilization of tenants into the building. I think Rob is kind of working with them on dates and providing a little bit of room for us to accommodate a slight change in schedule, but we don't want to shift that schedule if possible. So we've talked to the contractors about additional resources at every meeting. We've also talked about working evenings and weekends and doing whatever's required to meet our stage 1 occupancy by the end of this year, at the end of 2023. And we all understand that the stage 2 completion of the medicine wheel will be further probably in February or March of 2024. Okay, so the next slide, we'll go to the others here. So the arena slab, we have got a 5-year warranty, extended warranty. We are in discussions with Bell Fiber to bring in, and the working group has communicated that they would like to bring in fiber into the building, and that requires one tenant to be committed to fiber. So the discussion was that the town administration areas and multi-use areas would be serviced with Bell Fiber, and Bell would cover the cost of bringing the service into the building, and we would be responsible for distributing it through the tenant spaces. And we are having to commit to one account to connect the fiber. So that discussion's ongoing, and we'll update the working group on that progress. Okay, the town ordered seatings, lockers, bleachers, net systems in the gym for volleyball nets and badminton nets. New phone line has been connected to the elevator, which is allowing the final inspection of that unit. I think the elevator, we did check to see when it could be commissioned, and it's very much reliant on the fire evacuation and the fire alarm system being activated as well. So that's going to be in the next week and a half. We're looking to get that tested and commissioned, and then we're looking to try to get that elevator in service as soon as possible, so that people can take tours if they have limited mobility. Okay, we've talked about structural deficiencies and Butcon and AAR, which is Jillian, the project structural engineers. They're looking to resolve. They've resolved about 70% of the deficiencies, so they've made great progress. The town is holding back some money to correct those deficiencies, but the contractor and the team so far have stepped up and begun corrective work where identified. Intumescent paint is ongoing. I think we discussed that. Final room checkoffs have begun, so we're looking to get our inspection group or get the contractor at a point where they start turning over spaces for final inspections by the project team. We haven't had any identified to us at this point, but I think they're getting pretty close, and we're trying to encourage them to basically provide these spaces as early as possible, and not wait till December to have all the spaces ready for inspection, but to try to turn the spaces over for inspection as they become ready, and then that way we can spread the load and identify any deficiencies that are required and give them time to correct. Project documentations such as like as-built and integrated system testing are ongoing. And the town working group is receiving updates on a weekly basis as far as progress. Town councillors were given an opportunity to tour the site, and several councillors have toured the project to see progress. Collier's project leaders are continuing to assist the town with project management, and will do so until the project is complete. And myself, I continue to work on the project, and CAO Tremblay, along with some other staff, are working on leases and naming rights. And some of these activities have gone to council already, and I think leases are coming soon. So the next, I'll turn it over to Treasurer Broom for the financial picture.
Thank you, Mike, and through you, Chair Legree. This budget update is based on Butcon's update that they provided us as of September 30th. We only just received October's update today. So these figures, as I said, are based on September 30th. You'll notice that there was an increase of 408,000 from the last update you were provided, which was on the August monthly report, and there was a reconciliation done on the construction management fees, which shows there was an increase from the last one, last report of 986,000 compared to $1,081,000. The other figures all remain the same. And Mike, I don't know if you want to speak to this, because I know we chatted about this, and you're saying that the design and engineering, that there could be increases based on changes, but these are the original budget figures that we were provided with, so this is what I'm reporting. The increase of $408,000 are just made up of changes from the advancement of design and requests that have been made by us, the town. The contingency, which is on the next slide, it hasn't changed from the last report. We haven't taken anything out of contingency since our last update. Mike, I don't know if you want to speak to anything in regards to the design and engineering, but that's all I have to provide as an update.
Yeah, so thank you through the chair. I've spoken to our designer Jerry Millette at N45, and there is work ongoing with structural engineers to resolve deficiencies. There's also civil site works when we made the decision to add the asphalt back in, and we had to have the engineer design water mains and what have you. There's also some commissioning work that's been awarded to final commission some of the processes and come up with a commissioning plan. So none of these items were reflected in the original engineering fees. Some of the fees, if they're recoverable, for instance, like if you take the structural deficiencies, are a result of the contractor having deficiencies that are now causing our engineers to have additional review and do additional work, so that engineering costs will be recovered through the contractor, where appropriate. And but we just wanted to highlight that there are additional engineering fees covered from the design participants. I'm trying to have that information forecasted, and we'll bring forward to the next meeting, and getting information from our consultants and their sub-consultants now as to what those fees are. And as well, Aaron and I, as well as the third-party review, are looking into all the different cost elements, all the general ledger items that, like, there's several layers of costs. Like, there's the costs that are billed through ButCon, but there are also a number of contracts that are issued directly by the town for one reason or another. And so when you see the new construction costs, that's the construction cost through ButCon reports, and does not reflect the total cost of these other elements that the town has awarded, and maybe funding from other sources like contingency funds or other funds. Some of them maybe even be operational when it comes to like nets and various things that are providing some capital towards operational items. So we're trying to build a more comprehensive list of all the project costs that are going in, and Aaron and I and Rob and the third-party consultant will likely be identifying these various costs to try to add up a total project cost. And I'm not sure if you have any comment on that, Aaron or Rob.
No, that's a great explanation, Mike, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. So once we can all sit down together and discuss those costs, and we can come up with like a better review of the overall project.
Perfect. Thanks. That's it, Director.
That's it, unless there's more slides. Carolyn, you want to advance and we'll just keep going?
The contingency hasn't changed from the last report, so it's okay.
Okay, so we'll continue to the next slide. Okay, so project changes and increase. I think that makes up the list provided here. Let's see, I'll just get to the same. So there's been work on the civil and earthworks and asphalt and curb and lighting. The Lindsayfield water main was an additional cost. Again, the third-party review, commissioning, and some of the engineering work on the structural will be additional consulting fees, as indicated. The pricing is consistently coming in higher on bid packages. Like, for instance, our landscaping, our sod and topsoil. We just had that come in near $100,000 for sod and topsoil, where I think there was originally $25,000 kind of included in the project budget. So that's we've decided not to proceed with that work at this time, and we'll look at doing that work in 2024 in the spring, maybe using an alternative contractor or our own resources. Updated costs resulting in change events. There's been fire and evacuation plans, parking lot lightings, lockers, bleachers, arena seating, wiring for the phone system. That's been an ongoing discussion, bringing cable, bell, wire, and fiber to each of the tenant spaces. So that work is ongoing and will have a cost associated with it. Exterior signage. I think the working group has been talking about some changes to the exterior signs, which has an additional cost. Gym line modifications have been proposed to include pickleball lines into the court layout, so that's an additional cost as well. So we'll go to the next slide. So some of the more recent pictures of the arena and the youth center and the gymnasium. You can see the gymnasium floor is now complete. The hardwood's installed and it looks really, really good. And now they have some plywood on the floor to put up some scaffolding equipment or elevated platform, so they can do work on the rooftop unit. The next slide. Okay, this is just showing the bathroom tiles or the shower tiles installed. It's all pretty high quality products installed and should be easy to maintain. The change rooms with the wood seating, as you can see there, and all the bathroom partitions have now been installed. So that's really finishing off some of the water closet spaces in the change rooms and locker rooms. The new picture here, a new slide, and you see a picture of the canoe that's been installed over the cultural center. And the center picture is the medicine wheel with the curved ceiling. That's all been drywalled now. All the walls drywall is complete now, and it's got a coat of primer on all the surfaces of the medicine wheel. So it's quite a large space, and it's very impressive to see, and it's going to be a unique space for the town of Renfrew. The last picture there is the retaining walls going to the entrance of the medicine wheel, and essentially the retaining walls have been installed to create kind of a flat area for the daycare play areas. And so the concrete work is being worked on now. All the retaining walls have been completed. Okay, and next slide. I think that's probably the last slide, eh? Yeah, so if there's any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them or attempt to answer them.
Thank you, Director Aslan and Treasurer Broom. I'll open it up for questions. I can't see every. Councillor Dick.
Thanks, Chair Legree. So I have two questions. One of the questions I have, when you talk about rooftop units, are you meaning AC units?
Oh, they're heating and cooling and ventilation units. Yes.
So how many, you said there's 24 installed on the new building part. How many are installed on the old building part?
I'm not sure exactly how many are installed on the old, but there's 24 units in total on the new one.
Okay, well then I can't, if you don't have the information I asked for, I can't ask my next question, so I guess that's mute. My next question then I guess is, you mentioned in your presentation that you've went to the contractor and you've asked them to do 2 shifts. So you have one shift 7 to 3, I guess, and then you'd have an afternoon shift 3 to 7. Here's my thing. Why are we asking them and not telling them? Are we not the boss? Did we not hire them to complete a job? And like, let's be honest here, like, they're not working very hard. Well, I don't even know what to say. Like, why are we asking them? When are we going to be done asking them and start telling them? Because we're the ones paying for it. And it's getting really, really frustrating.
Well,
like,
I would say
this out.
I would respond to this by saying, and I don't think we've ever said that we're requesting them to work extra shifts. We're asking them to use whatever resources are available to them and work additional hours or the weekends or whatever they need to do to kind of finish on time. Now, as the owner, we have a certain role, and we cannot schedule or we cannot dictate how they do the work as the contractor. They're responsible for schedule. And this, I think we've talked about this a few times, but the nature of the contract that we signed with them is not such where we ended up with a fixed, like a general contractor that is committed to a schedule and cost. This is a construction management contract. And essentially, we're working as the owners. We are essentially like a general contractor coordinating work with a construction manager, and Butcon is the construction manager, and they have an engineering team working with them. So it's not like we have a conventional contract where they've committed to finish by a certain date. Otherwise, we may have liquidated damages available if they didn't finish on time. But unfortunately, the nature of the contract that the town entered into is such that we do not have the authority to dictate to them to finish on a particular schedule. I guess we could dictate to them that we need this and that and the other thing, but that would come at a great cost to the town, an additional cost. And I'd be happy to kind of talk to you more about that offline, and perhaps our third-party reviewer would have some comment on the nature of our contract and what what rights we have to force the contractor to do things in a different manner. But I think right now the contractor has met with the working group, and the president of the company has come down and met to hear the concerns of the working group. And one of the concerns was the resources that were being applied to the job, and the contractor and the president of Butcon did make representations to the working group that they are committed to a schedule and committed to working with the town to get this thing finished off. And I think that's what we're working towards. We don't have a big hammer under the terms of the contract, but I think we're all working towards the same thing, trying to get this thing finished as soon as we can, but make sure that it's finished in a manner that we do get a good product out of it, and that it's a satisfactory product and not cut any corners.
Councillor Dick.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to follow up. So that was great information. Really, I'm not happy with the information you provided for me, but I understand it. It's just frustrating, and you know what? You explain yourself very well with the laws and all that stuff in the contract we signed. Again, it's just frustrating, and I wanted to ask the question again. I don't like the answer, but I understand the answer, and thank you for that answer, Mike Aslan. I don't know what's his title now, CEO Tremblay. I'm sorry.
Acting Director, Strategic Asset Management.
Okay. Can I just say Director Aslan?
Yes.
Thank you, Director Aslan, for your answer. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And we share everybody's pain in this project, and we're all trying to get it finished, trying to get it over the finish line. And we are working. We're trying to be as transparent and honest as possible in bringing items forward where we're having troubles. And we're making everybody aware of it, and we're now going to work through the treasurer and the CAO to look at all the cost elements. And it's like if you've ever built a house, getting the final touches to the project and just getting it finished is the hardest part. And you don't want to lose momentum at the end. I think now we have tenants that are anxious to move in. We have some spaces that are looking really, really good. They just need to be finished off and cleaned up, and get on with the work and take occupancy. So that's what we're shooting for. So thanks for the question. It was a good one.
And the other thing, Councillor Dick, I'll mention is that the working group has started to put, or we have Butcon on bi-weekly on every second call on Mondays with us now. So just to kind of hold them accountable too, and make sure we're all on the same page moving forward. So that they've been on one call already. Fortunately we had to cancel this week's, but we'll be back next week. So that's just another thing we've put into place. So any other questions? Councillor Sobolski.
Thank you. Through you, Chair Legree, and just want to echo, like, as always, Director Aslan has the information, but to Councillor Andrew Dick, I'm looking at the photo that was provided to us when we did our walkthrough that day, and the answer is right there for air handlers on the existing to the new, and there's one on the existing. There's a lot more on the new. To that portion of it, I'm with Director Aslan. Let's push through. Let's push hard. Let's get this done. Let's not lose the momentum. Let's ask these questions later if there was an energy documentation provided on what we would have needed to heat this building, cool this building, and the proper resources needed on the roof, because 20 years in the industry and that's way too many air handlers. But that's a conversation that we're going to let these doors get open, and we'll kick these questions over later because we can't stop it now.
Thank you, Councillor Sobolski. Any other questions? Nope, seeing none. All right, thank you. And we'll move on to D, reports. Town garage building condition assessment. So the recommendation is that the Facilities Maintenance and Operations Committee recommend Brantford Town Council receive the report. Building condition assessment report for Renfrew Municipal Garage at 529 Lisgar Avenue. That's dated October 13th, 2023 for information purposes. And further, that staff are directed to make recommendations in conjunction with the 2024 budget deliberations to commence repairs on the garage to extend its useful life. Do I have a mover? Councillor Sobolski, and I'll hand it over to all in favor. Sorry. Yeah, carry. No, not all in favor.
Sorry, through you, Chair Legree. Let's have a discussion first, and then.
Yeah, sorry. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm back on it. I'll hand it over to Acting Director of Facilities and Maintenance and Operations, Janet Collins.
Can everybody hear me? Okay. I will just go through the report quickly and then any questions that you have. So with regards to it, it is
can you hold on 1 second, Janet?
So just Councillor Legree, if you can mute your speakers,
I think you have to
it
turn
will
your
deal
volume
with
down.
the feedback. Yeah.
Turn the volume right down. You can listen through mine now. Is everything good? Can you hear me as well? Perfect. Okay, we're sharing some space here for technical reasons. Anyways, I will go through the report fairly quickly, and then any questions with regards to it. The document is a 10-year document. This is in keeping with the terms of reference of Morrison Hirschfield. The report has been split with 2 appendix. The first one is their full report. I'll just very quickly show you 1 or 2 items in it, and we'll return to the second appendix, which is where I have drawn all of their information and recommendations out, and we'll speak to that quickly. So first, I want to note that the way they've done their report is they've broken it into 3 priorities, A, B, and C. Essential requirements is A, B is necessary but not essential, and C is desirable but not necessary. In addition to this, they've actually also broken it down into the years that they recommend each of these items be completed. What I would like to note is that some of the items are minor enough in nature. There's something that can be done under our maintenance budget, while other items would be capital. As well, some of the items that come through, their costs are actually tied into something else. An example would be, as we replace windows, sealants is included in the cost of doing that work. So on the second page of the report is a breakdown of the years from 2024 to 2033. It's giving the total budget and the priorities of A, B, and C. When we go through it, what we're recommending is that staff will pick some of these items out to move forward in the 2024 budget deliberations. And we will look at various things related to that. And as you can see on the bottom of page 2 of the report, that's life cycles, it's the future use of the facilities, it's whether it's tied to something that must be completed or not, whether the cost capital versus maintenance. So as we move on, I just want to note that the report is a fabulous document in relation to all projects moving forward as far as facilities go. We get a lot of information, not just from our garage, but also on the useful life, the service life of a lot of these items that we can then utilize in our asset management or in future budget deliberations as we move forward. So I like these kind of reports. I think they're extremely useful. So as we go to their report, I will just note on page 10 of 86, I don't know how you're getting through, in the introduction, they do have limitations or exclusions to theirs, such things as code compliance audits. So the reason I'm pointing that out is if we had Electrical Safety Authority come in, there may be items that they would want or require immediately, things such as MOE, those kind of things. So we haven't got into detail of it. They do note a lot of these items. However, it was excluded as a whole from their product for their terms of reference. So if we go through, I'm just going to take you to, as an example, page 16 of 86, it's site features. And I'm just giving you a brief on how they've developed their program. So when we go through asphalt paving, they give a brief description, and then they actually have an event printed out with the priority, the year they recommend, and the total cost of that occurrence to do that, the corrections. When you'll see the back, we've also pulled out, when you're going through each of their descriptions, there's items that are not clearly identified in here. However, it's within the writing, such as some minor items that they said, we also recommend you do this, but it hasn't been broken out. Typically, that's because they're more maintenance related and operational related than capital projects. So what I'm going to do, rather than go through the entire document, I assume you have, and it really is, it comes down to the recommendations. So if you can go to Appendix 2 at the back, I have taken all of their items out and broken it into what I'm calling a recommendation brief. And each of these items, you can see number 1 to, I believe there's 72 of them. And then you have the report reference. So we've then given a brief description of each of the items. So the first one is just our number 1. If you want to refer, you would go back to 3.2 within their document for a full description. When work is being done and or tendering, RFPs, RFQs, we would want to go back to the full document to make sure we capture it all. In some cases, they may illustrate specifically where an issue is rather than sort of as a whole within the system. So throughout that, you can see the first one's a great one because it goes on to say the repair costs are below the threshold. So they wouldn't have a separate line item within theirs because there's no cost associated in their report, although it's a recommendation to be done. So that's a great example of what I've pulled out of the report to ensure that we don't miss any of the recommendations. So as you go through the recommendation brief, you will start to get into some of the items. The second page of that is illustrates it, number 10 on through. So you can see the year. I've taken all of their items and put them in order of year plus item A, then item B, then item C. Then we go on to the next year. So what we're going to recommend is that staff will take this document, and when we're putting together the 2024 budget deliberations, we will pull some of these items out that we feel are immediate needs in order to maintain the structure and or improve the structure. Staff have not made recommendations as to a length of time that we wish to keep the structure in operation or for the use that it presently is. So it may have a change of use in the next number of years. I don't know if some other staff would like to speak to that. I know there's been discussion ongoing with that. However, we do understand for the immediate future, some stuff has to be completed. Again, when we bring it back during budget deliberations, we'll note where the information came from, the cost associated, and council will have an opportunity to further decipher it at that time, or yay or nay the works. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Director Collins. So I'm going to adjust my volume. Here's now. Now I know why our clerk put me in a separate room, and when she wasn't looking, I snuck back in here, but now we're having issues. Sorry about that. Can't trust me. All right, any questions? Nope. Yeah, Councillor Sobolski.
Thank you, through you, Chair Legree and Acting Director Collins. That was great. I believe there's lots of good information in this report. It shows that there's hope for the building, but also by looks of the building, it's showing its true age and how badly degraded it is. So my personal opinion is that I'd like to be very cautious about how we move forward with doing repairs, understanding that there are some high importance that needs to get done for safety reasons or quick operation reasons. But I'd like to, if maybe get some assistance, I'd like to just go ahead and put a motion out there to amend the previous motion to add maybe minor repairs to be added. And over the next 5 years, maybe, or I'm not sure how to exactly get this out. I know that the clerk will certainly help me get my verbiage, but I just want to make sure that we're doing minor repairs that are of necessity, and with the possibility of understanding and looking into the possibility of extending into a new area for a new shop, just making sure they're not investing into a building that doesn't need the investment if we can put it wisely in another place.
Clerk Eric.
Can I maybe recommend the following then?
Yes, please.
That the Facilities Maintenance and Operations Committee amend to add minor prior to repairs, and by adding by 5 years at the end of the motion, the previous stated motion, and that an additional clause be added as follows. Further still, that staff be directed to report back on the design and engineering of replacement building to be constructed in 5 to 10 years, which could include other departments and strategic partners if required.
That sounds a lot better said than I said it. So yes, thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion, I guess.
As I say, so Kyle, would you like to motion that then? Oh, Andrew.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I just want to echo what Councillor Sobolski said. I think we know this building is falling apart, and I think we need to start thinking about replacing it. So the guys out there can, do their job more efficiently and better serve the townspeople, instead of being out there and fixing it all the time. I like the motion. I think it's a good motion. I think we should figure this out, and fully support this new motion. And let's try and figure this out sooner than later.
Okay, so before we go any further, through you, Chair Legree, could we motion the amendment, which would be, I think Kyle had put that on the floor, so.
Yeah, so we need a seconder.
No seconder. We just, if that's the amendment and everybody's in agreement, then all in favor.
Yeah, all in favor? Carried.
And then on the main motion as amended, you just need to call the vote.
Sorry. No.
So on the main motion,
yeah.
now you'll call the vote for the main motion as amended.
Okay, so I read it back out again. Sorry, this is new.
You don't have to, though. If committee members would like to clarify, they can.
Okay, do you need me to read it back out, or?
So shake the head. Okay, so the motion would be all in favor if as amended. Sorry.
Yeah, all in favor has amended. Approved, carried. Got through it. Okay, moving down to D.2.1, flushing operations, and recommendation is that the Facilities Maintenance and Operations recommend Renfrew Town Council receive this flushing operations report for information purposes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Sabalski, and I'll hand it back over to Acting Director Collins.
You'll have to turn your volume down. Okay, so with regards to the flushing operations, I was requested to bring a report forward for information purposes on what and how we do it. So part of that is understanding what flushing actually does. There's really three main reasons, and one is to clean out the water mains. Over time, particles build up inside the distribution pipes, and this has an impact on water clarity, appearance, and potentially quality. The second is to ensure sufficient chlorine residuals are present at dead ends, is typically where this occurs, although it could be other areas. And by flushing, you draw the chlorine further into the system, and the water that has lost its chlorine residuals are flushed out, and then you can meet your legislative requirements for chlorine residuals. The third is actually to meet the Ontario Fire Code. I have stated in the report, the OREG 73081, which indicates that hydrants must be flushed and inspected annually. We can also verify that there's sufficient water to the hydrants and or the quantity of water, as in pressure as well. What flushing does is it pulls at high velocities through the pipes to a discharge point. Typically, settled iron and other minerals are stirred up and flushed out. That's why we get the brown water or the red water, as it is often indicated. When flushing occurs, both residents and businesses may experience both bouts of low pressure and or rusty water, colored water. For these reasons, some municipalities choose to undertake flushing operations during the night. As well, doing it at night also allows the water to typically settle a bit for a few hours and some of the discoloration to dissipate. Prior to doing this, we always put a notice in, and I've actually taken the latest notice that was done for our fall flushing so that council is aware of exactly what we state. We do get calls on it regardless of what time of day it's done. I assume we likely limit it because we do it at night. Certainly low pressure calls would not come into being. I do want to note that there is other municipalities that do theirs strictly during the day, and there's others again that divide it up both day and night. Again, if you've got businesses, if you are a restaurant in your downtown core and you ended up with low pressure and discolored water during the day, that can certainly upset your operations. So with regards to our own staff, we typically do it twice a year, spring and fall, and we do undertake it at night. We put a shift on. We do not do this on overtime. It is a shift, and the guys are working at that during their regular hours, however, being scheduled at night. Moving forward, flushing really won't be ours to undertake. It will be Aqua's. It is part of that contract. However, prior to them undertaking the work, we certainly will have discussions with them. First, we need to notify the public, as we always have. As well, that conversation can take place as to how they would recommend we do it, and with our background information moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Director Collins. Yeah. Perfect. Any questions? Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair Legree. So I'm glad to know that they weren't being paid overtime, because they were telling everybody they were being paid overtime. So I'm going to take your word for it that they weren't, even though they were telling other employees within the town that they were being paid overtime. So, but I'll take your word for it that they weren't. And I thank you for this report. It's a great report. I do have some concerns about the way that we're notifying the residents. So one, the social media, everybody thinks that's the end all to let everybody know what's happening. But Facebook is a beautiful thing. They change the rules every week. And if you're not engaging with the Town of Renfrew's Facebook page, then you're going to be bumped. You're not going to see their posts. So physically, the person has to be engaging, commenting, liking the town of Renfrew's comments, their post, or they lose it, you know. So it's sad. So no, I'm just going to finish up there. I have the floor. And then you have, sorry, I just lost here. I lost my point. There was 3 places that you're advertising: social media, news media. Well, we only have the Eganville Leader now, and I think anybody under the age of 40 years old probably doesn't even buy the paper. And then, and media, social media, website, and press release. So now we're going to go to the website, and I don't think it's the town's responsibility, the taxpayers, to physically go onto our website, which, by the way, is one of the worst websites I've ever saw, and it's the most hardest to navigate. I tried to find a bylaw there last night, and it took me 20 minutes to actually physically find it on our website, which is the most frustrating thing in the world. And so I don't think it's the taxpayer's job to go and say, oh, are we doing water flushing this week? Are we doing this week? Are we doing this week? I think it's our job as the town to notify our residents in a more efficient manner. So those are just my suggestions for next year. Again, Aqua is going to have this. So that's just my frustrating with it. As for doing it at nighttime, we talk about red water, and that was the excuse that was given to me last time, is why we're doing it at nighttime. But here's my thing: you still have to rinse your water if you wake up in the morning. So I don't think it matters if we do it during the day or night. But regardless, I'm just a counselor. I'm not an operations person, and I don't know much about that. So I'll leave that in your hands. I know you're just getting thrown into this, Director Collins, and I apologize for my frustration. It's not towards you. It's just my frustration. And I love this report, and I thank you for it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dick. I'll hand it over to Director Collins.
Just a couple of items. I actually went back to timesheets, and that's where I got the information with regards to no overtime. If it was done outside of the week we notified, which I don't believe it was, I may not have that information, just to clarify that point. And as for the information as to where it went, I do believe we are updating our website. So hopefully it becomes easier, and that's outside of my boundaries, obviously. So I do believe that the information is there, and how we move forward will obviously be with discussions with Aqua.
If I can just add, Mr. Chair, Aqua has said that generally speaking, they anticipate most of this work will be done daytime and evening if required. I believe that was a question that was asked to them. So I just want to reiterate that.
Thank you, CEO. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay, moving down to D.2.2, cemetery winter maintenance. And the recommendation is that Facilities Maintenance and Operations Committee recommend that Renfrew Town Council receive this report for information purposes, as it is related to snow plowing the main roadway at St. Francis Xavier Cemetery from Bruce Street to the receiving vault, and further that Renfrew Town Council directs staff to prepare an agreement that identifies the town of Renfrew from any potential legal claims as part of one of the alternatives outlined in the report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Andrew Dick, and I'll hand it back over to Acting Director Collins.
Okay, so with regards to this report, it has come to my attention that we have been plowing the cemetery road at St. Francis Xavier. It is from Bruce Street up around the receiving vault and back down. They don't bury, from my understanding, or inter during the winter season, so they do use the vault as storage. Currently, we are not charging for the roadway, and I have not located any agreements. We can do another search for that, but I don't have any information on that at this time. What staff have done is put together various alternatives. We have not recommended an alternative. However, this may be a committee recommendation to council, etc. So the first is status quo, that we continue to plow as we are. However, staff do want to point out that it is a service free to a private organization. Not that it's necessarily precedent setting, although that could come forward from any other private group. Regardless, staff are requesting that the town enter into an agreement that indemnifies the town. So when we go in, some of the concerns are damage to our own vehicles if we slide off the road, damage to their gates as we enter. It's a very tight, small turn going in and around the vault. If we're sanding and salting, we could be damaging the base of the vault and or any of the stones adjacent, and or if we get in an accident, hitting the vault, etc. We do use our 3/4 ton plow as we can't get the tandem up and around the vault for a turn. The second alternative is a cost recovery. This could be done on a couple of different methods, and that's charged on a per basis event, or we could charge a flat rate per season. Again, the negatives of this is the administrative requirements. We have to ensure that all of our costs are tracked, invoices completed, etc. And we would have to make sure we have this ability within our fees and charges in order to be able to charge them. Again, recommend an agreement that indemnifies the town. The third alternative is a grant. We do have a grant program available. It's twice per year, and they could apply to receive a grant for the town to do this. Again, recommending if we go down that course that we would enter into an agreement to indemnify us. The key to this is they would have to apply for it biannually, and it is tossed in with all of the other requests for grants. So there isn't a guarantee that they receive it. And the last alternative is that the township, or the town, sorry, does not provide any plowing services. If we don't provide winter maintenance, the diocese could contract this privately to another company. We are aware that there is many companies out there, and how they wish to undertake that contract would be them between themselves and their new contractor. Obviously, we would not require any agreement to enter into this. As for the discussion, I've just included some of the length of it, how often we do it, what vehicle we use. And again, some of the considerations are outlined there with regards to risk providing to a private party and the time and cost to manage this. We've estimated it right now at about $2,000, and I'm basing that on a tandem cost of $80 per hour. Again, that's what's in our fees and charges bylaw at this point, based on about a half an hour to complete the work and the average number of winter events in Renfrew, which is deemed to be 50. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I open it up, I just want to make a comment. I'm not sure how this became, but my thought should be that the town's not involved in plowing for private parties. They should be contracted out, but we'll open up to the floor to see where everybody is. Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Chair Legree, through you. So, Acting Director Collins, thank you so much for discovering this. Thank you for the report. It's absolutely amazing. I'm appalled that this was even going on for how many years. We have no idea. I have no idea what the person in the last director would allow this to happen. I'm just appalled that our taxpayers' dollars were paying to an organization in Canada alone worth $490 million, and we're doing it for free. while our roads are struggling. And I can't even begin to say how frustrating this is to see this. So like the only alternative we should have is to apologize to the taxpayers of Renfrew and say, you know what, we're deeply sorry that your tax dollars were paying to a private organization worth $490 million, and we were doing their driveway for free. So that's what I'd like to do publicly right now, is apologize to the taxpayers that this has been going on for we don't even know how many years, and it's hopefully going to stop right now. And 100% alternative number 4 is we are not going to provide any more snow plowing service to the St. Francis Xavier Cemetery. And I'm just going to leave it at that, Chair, and I thank you for your time on this matter.
Thank you, Councillor Andrew Dick. Any other comments on it? Councillor John McDonald.
Thank you, Chair, and that's why I wanted to jump on today. I think it's more of a timing issue too. And thank you, Director Collins. That was a very thorough report that I read through. With regard, I just got some comments with regard to this. It's private property. We should never have been plowing it. Snow plowing is extremely hard, Director Collins, like you talked about, on our equipment. And our equipment should be used and reserved just for town property alone. I agree. I think option 4 makes the most sense. And this is why I wanted to jump on, because I think it's a timing issue now, and fairness to the client is that they should be notified by staff if this is the way the committee chooses to vote right now in terms of option 4, that they should be contacted directly even before it comes to council, just to give them a heads up in fairness. There's a couple of reasons why I think there won't be any issues for them to get contracting for this. I see this sort of as it's not a priority plowing situation. It's more of a filler for any contractor that takes it. It's kind of added on towards the end of a route, and they should have no problem getting the proper contractor in the bid. And even though it's considered maybe towards the start of the season, getting close, they shouldn't have any problem filling it. And I don't think we're obligated to continue the service, but we should be, in fairness to them, give them proper notification. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents, and that's it. I don't think we're leaving them high and dry if we can get the information to them in a timely manner. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Any other questions? Director Alzin, did you want to? Yes, Director Alzin.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond that this wasn't a conscious choice of the director, the previous director, to do this. This was a practice that was taking place well before 2005, and it was council at the time that decided to do this, and there was no change in practice directed by the council. So at this time, council have the prerogative to change the practice, and that seems to be what you're doing. But I resent the fact that that you're saying it was a conscious choice of the previous director, and I hope you would correct that statement, please.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Director Aslan. I will rescind my comments that what I said, that it was you. That just even makes it more sickening that it's been done before your time. So it's been going on since previous 2005. So I will take my remark back, stating that it was a conscious decision on your part. And I'm just going to leave it right at that. Thank you, Chair.
I appreciate that.
Yep, you're welcome, sir.
All right, thank you. Last call. Any further questions? No. Okay, Clerk, you won't have to help me. I think everybody's in favor of option 4. Go ahead.
So if the committees, I guess, would like to proceed with that, then if there's a member of the committee that would like to motion, basically I could draft the motion that the Facilities Maintenance and Operation Committee recommends that Renfrew Town Council not provide winter maintenance on the main roadway at St. Francis Xavier Cemetery from Bruce Street to and from the receiving vault. There's a
do we have a mover for that? Councillor Andrew Dick. And then all in favor? Yeah, approved.
And that would render the original motion redundant because you've taken the opposite position, just for the minutes.
Perfect. Councillor McDonald.
So the only opinion I would have too, just to reiterate, is perhaps someone get in touch with the client just to give them a heads up that it might be coming down. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, good comment, Councillor. All right, moving on to D.2.3, the 2024 staffing projections for the MyFM Center. And the recommendation is that the Community Service and Economic Development Committee recommend Renfrew Town Council authorize the recommended staffing model for the MyFM Center as part of the 2024 budget. Do I have a mover? Somebody? Councillor Savalsky, and I'll hand it over to Director Thompson.
Chair. So with myself, Treasurer Broom, CEO Tremblay, we met to sort of start discussing what the staffing is going to need to look like at the new MyFM Center, taking into consideration the increased footage, the new ice pad, the new gymnasium, as well as the other amenities. So we came to the conclusion that we'd be looking at, as outlined in the report, customer service representatives at 56 hours per week, skilled operators, which would be 2 per shift, at 192 hours a week, maintenance laborers at 152 hours a week, sorry, at 192 for the skilled operators, 152 for this maintenance laborers, and then a full-time a custodian that would be dedicated to the facility as well, which would result in 56 hours a week. So when we compared the changes from 2023 to 2024, we're looking at approximately 19% increase to cover the new amenities at the facility.
Thank you for that, Director. Any questions? No, Councillor Andrew Dick.
I do apologize that I'm speaking on every topic today, but I just feel it's necessary. Sorry, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad. So I just wanted to address this to the public because, you know, we're gonna get backlash for hiring more, but I think the town needs to understand that I've toured this facility and it's absolutely huge. It's huge and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome when we open it. I'm telling you, I can't wait to show it off. It's exciting. And we need these staff to maintain our level of service to the taxpayers. And I feel Kelly and her team are doing an excellent job right now with the small staff they have, and only bringing on more staff to, you know, make this experience better for the taxpayers is going to be better. So I highly recommend this, and that's my defense when we get people questioning why are we hiring more, but it's absolutely necessary. Kelly, thank you. Sorry, Director Thompson, thank you very much for this report. It's excellent. Thank you for your time, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Dick, and I agree with you. It's, you know, people call it a second ice pad, but like I said before, it's so much more. And once you get in there and actually look around, you don't realize till you're there, like what it's all entailed, right? So it's I think it's 100,000 square foot addition to the building, so which is massive. So, any other questions? CEO Tremblay.
Just to echo through you, Mr. Chair, just the work, and so Randy Smith provided some guidance on the operational requirements for Kelly to look at, and then Aaron and I just vetted it. Just want to note that basically we have 16 hours a day in this facility, 7 days a week. So yes, we're going to be integrating some of the staff from the rec center, but the footprint of this building is 50% larger, but the hours we're able to contain it within about 19%. So just to say that this is in keeping with what you've heard from the Mattaway third-party review and the maintenance winter summer maintenance review, where we're talking about approximately 3 additional staff. So we've looked at that, and just also being very clear going forward with all the staff in terms of their jobs and their job descriptions, where, for instance, custodians are being added here because they can't go and clean a far part of the building after they've flooded the ice. It's just the dynamics of the operations of this place are going to be much different going forward. But just kudos to Randy and Kelly for pulling this together in terms of the amount of staff and looking where we needed folks. So we're doubling the size of the facility, but the number of staff hours are just increasing by 19%. Understanding that it is a significant increase, but we are redeploying the folks, for instance, the customer service reps that were working out of the rec center, including the janitor cleaner that helps us out seasonally. So just want to add that it's 16-hour days, 7 days a week.
That's a good point. Thank you, CEO. Any other questions? Nope. Director Thompson.
Yes, I do want to also say this is not my wheelhouse. Randy has been vital in all of this. Working with him and his team definitely is what put this together, because this is all new for me. So thanks, Chair.
Yes, no, thank you, and I agree. Randy Smith has stepped up, and the staff at Mattaway to help get through this all. There's lots going on there, and you too, Kelly. You've jumped in from your normal duties and have been plugging away the last few months, so we all appreciate that very much. So thank you. Last call for questions. Nope, none. All in favor? Okay, carried. Moving down to F, committee minutes, that the Facilities Maintenance and Operations Committee confirm the 8-2023 minutes for the Infrastructure, Public Works and Asset Management Committee dated October 3rd, 2023. Do I have a mover? So Councillor Cebulski, all in favor? Carried. And then the next upcoming committee meeting is scheduled, the next regular scheduled meeting for Facilities, Maintenance and Operations is scheduled for December 12th, 2023 at 2 p.m. And thanks everybody for bearing through this virtual. Hopefully next week or two we'll be back to in live. We just have some renovations here at the town office going on, but they're almost done. So with that, we will adjourn at 3:21 p.m. Thanks everybody.